What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you when you're watching this. We are the Investing Bros, and it is a good old Thursday morning, October 12th. My name is Tim, and we got a lot to talk about in this morning news update. Cardano continues to just blow the competition away when it comes to development. Will we eventually see that result in price action? We're going to talk about that a little bit more in this video, cover some news, look at the charts. If you guys are excited, smash that like button, hit subscribe. If you guys love Cardano, if you love crypto, if you love TA, and you love the news, you found the right channel. Make sure you are subscribed. Before we jump into those news stories, there's some other things happening today that are very important. Let's go ahead and go to my screen here, T Shroom. By the way, that's T Shroom, my co-host, in case you haven't met him. Lovely guy.
Oh,
If, if,
thanks,
if,
Tim.
if for nothing else, smash the like button for T Shroom because he's
Thanks.
nice. We got some big information coming out today. We do have the CPI and inflation data coming out. Now, yesterday we had the PPI numbers coming out higher than expected. Right now we are expecting 0.3 for our core inflation. We're expecting 4.1 for core inflation year over year. That's actually would be a downtick from last month. We'll see if we have it. We're also getting CPI numbers as a whole, and inflation rate year over year, by the way, is also expected to be lower at 3.6, maybe 3.7, but 3.6. Let's see if we hit it. I mean, PPI didn't get there. This could be very, very big for the movement, the next movement of Bitcoin's price. If we do come in higher, we could see some dips coming to Bitcoin. Now, don't be surprised if you see a little bit of a misdirection happen. This is very common when something comes out that's maybe supposed to be bullish. We see price dip, or it's supposed to be bearish. We see price rally. So don't be surprised if we see a little bit of a fake out, but this is something you definitely want to be keeping your eyes on. Also at 8:30, again, this is already coming out when you guys are watching this video. We'll talk about it later today in our live show, but jobless claims will also be coming out. They're expected to slightly tick up from last month, but they might not. And we'll have to continue to watch to see how that happens. Still, we're predicting a 91% chance that we have a pause here in November. Maybe some of this data kind of affects that and changes the mind of the voters that vote for this FedWatch tool. But right now, still heavily leaning towards that pause. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index coming in at 45 today. So we're finally moving back down into the fear. But is it too late? Like, are we moving even further down? I'm gonna give you more thoughts on that here later on. Let's take a quick look at the markets this morning over on CoinMarketCap. Just as I told you, Bitcoin had a big red day yesterday, and now I said yesterday in our live stream, watch the altcoins start to catch up today. Well, guess what? Ethereum, it's right there with Bitcoin, but when you factor in that yesterday Bitcoin was way out losing Ethereum, the fact that Ethereum has caught up now in the last 24 hours is pretty bad for Ethereum's price. They're about the same, down 1.35%. But let's move to some of the others. XRP down 1.5. Solana down 3%. Maybe we got to look at that Solana chart this morning. Cardano only down 0.7, but then you get some of the other Dogecoin down 1.4. Tron down almost 1%. We are seeing altcoins. Polkadot 2.46%. We're seeing altcoins catch up to that loss that Bitcoin took yesterday. That meaning that Bitcoin dominance is going back to the upside this morning. Loom Network is our biggest gainer at 11%, but after them, not a lot of gains. Frax, Gala, Kronos, ApeCoin. Oh, ApeCoin in the green. Good for them. Good for them. Not a lot, though. Single digits. Let's take a look at our biggest losers. Thorchain continues to bleed. 25% in the last 7 days, 9% within the last 24 hours. No bueno. Rocket Pool is down almost 4.5% as well, about 4.5%. Maker down 3.5%. AVAX down 3.5%. Mantle down 3.5%. So more losses today than what we're seeing in the gains category. We're going to jump into TA here in just a couple of minutes, but we do have a couple headlines, starting off with some Cardano ones. T. Sherm, what are we seeing this morning in the news?
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Well, there's a couple of things I wanted to bring up just so our audience knows. Charles Hoskinson has unveiled an update in the Cardano governance model. The details here are actually pretty interesting. According to Hoskinson, the decision-making process on the blockchain has evolved into a tricameral process. He mentioned that it includes the involvement of Cardano delegated representatives, SPOs, and constitutional committee. A regular founding father is Charles Hoskinson. Unlike delegating representatives and SPOs, members of the Constitutional Committee will be voted into the role periodically.
Hmm.
Interesting. So power will alternate. Furthermore, Hoskinson said with the tricameral system, voting on proposals such as budgets, committee updates, roadmaps, and referenda will be more democratized. Before the move, the blockchain had drawn criticism for the concentration of voting powers in its Genesis key holders. Right? So it's
Hmm.
just the guys that got in early that had any say. Well, uh, Hoskinson's ready to change that. There's another one too. Charles Hoskinson's Cardano remains king of development. So he's not giving up, guys. He's working really, really hard. Santiment noted that the number one ranking for development came in as a result of Cardano's development activity, with the blockchain network recording 611 notable GitHub commits in the last 30 days to lead all the other projects. That includes Polkadot and Kusama, which came behind in second and third position with 500 commits
Hmm.
to Polkadot, and or actually second and third Kusama commits each to their name, so about 500 for each of those, Polkadot and Kusama.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, Ethereum, came in 10th on the list with only 288 commits to its name. So quite a difference there. Those are going to be our Cardano headlines. Tim, Cardano just continues to build, continues to develop, and by Santiment's analysis, at least, they're the leading in development.
Yeah, and we've been saying this for a while. It hasn't yet resulted in a price uptick. I do think it will get closer to the bull market, and it will. But this is one of the reasons why I continue to be bullish. Again, I'm going to compare Cardano to the likes of what we saw in the past, maybe with Amazon. There was a time period where Amazon was working very, very hard behind the scenes, but the stock price was not reflecting. It got really low, and someone actually interviewed good old Jeff Bezos saying, "Are you very concerned? Is your company about to go down?" And his response was pretty much, "My company, I know its value and what it's doing, and the price does not reflect it." People thought he was crazy at the time, but then it shot up to be one of the highest performing stocks
Yeah.
over the next, 15 years, 20 years. So it's like, all right, does that mean that Cardano's safe? No, Cardano has a lot to work to do to continue to build what they need to build, but it's not the time of the market where Cardano rallies in price. They're doing the hard work now during the bear market so that the bull market has another explosive run. And I believe that is going to happen. And again, we'll have to wait about a year to see those true results, but I do think that they will come, T-Shroom.
Yeah.
Any other news we have this morning before we
Yep.
jump into some
Yeah, we've
charts?
got two quick headlines here. We're not going to get too deep into either of these, but Chinese bribes and many other salacious details came out yesterday, and more from the FTX trials. One that was really particularly perturbing to me was that she disclosed an unrelated bribery incident with Chinese officials to retrieve locked funds, highlighting the trust Bankman-Fried had in her. So she was
Good.
instructed to do that. That is just so messed up.
Yep.
But there it is. And then over here, on a much lighter note, Chainlink to explode as real world asset tokenization gains momentum. That's RWA narrative continuing to persist here. And then this is from a tweet from the Wolf of All Streets. And he said, Chainlink, with its system of oracles and wide partnership, is well positioned to connect blockchains with real world data, making it a strong player in the RWA narrative. So very, very good headlines there. Tim, I think
Yeah.
we're ready to go ahead and scoot right on into the charts. What do you say?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick look at a couple of these coins we're talking about. Cardano being the number one coin. Of course, guys, yes, a couple of days ago, we did reject once more off of falling resistance, and we marked out this territory about 24 cents, a very strong territory of support during this bear market for Cardano. Yes, we've had a couple of wicks go below that level, but a lot of the closes have happened right there. Cardano continues to kind of move down in that direction. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and the things that we have going on with our oscillators. You will see this is setting up bullish divergence. So I do think a bounce is coming, but guys, there's no signals right now. As we are overextended, the oscillator is just dragging on sideways while price continues to drop with no bullish flash, no green MVP oscillator. This is not a good sign if you're looking to invest in a long here on Cardano, at least on the 4-hour chart, which tells us what the next couple of days should look like. Let's see if today we see any type of spark on the 1-hour chart. This should give us an indication maybe through middle afternoon. Not a lot of bullish pressure here either. We did get a green reversal. We are seeing bullish divergence for sure. But the MVP oscillator is not necessarily convinced that we need to scream to the upside. We're just kind of riding and dragging along this green band, even on the hourly chart. So do we hit 24 cents on the dot today? I don't know if the answer is yes, but I do think the price is definitely heading in that direction. But of course, you guys know we've talked about this. I do think that long-term Cardano, we have a one more touch of support probably later on in November, hitting 18 cents in a falling wedge formation. Guys, that will be bullish. This will be a big explosion in Cardano price, I do believe. Probably going to shoot us back up here to the area around 35 cents or so quickly after hitting 18 cents. So get your buys ready. Maybe go in and put some orders in. This is not financial advice, so you do whatever you want. I'm gonna put some buys in, but you do you, boo-boo. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick, rallying a little bit this morning. Let's come down to the 4-hour chart. We kind of did some things that I did discuss us doing. We didn't quite get to 26,000 yet. I do think that's coming, but we kind of bounced here at 26.5 yesterday. And I told you guys, look for, in the live stream, I said, hey, don't be surprised if we see some bullish push. Don't be surprised if we make a move back up close to 27,000. Well, we got to about $26,945. So if you're waiting for 27, you missed it by about $55. But we did rally back up towards that area. Let's take a look at what the oscillators are saying. Kind of similar to Cardano's 4-hour chart. Price, well, it's different. Cardano's continue to move to the downside. Bitcoin is kind of slowed down here after touching 26.5. Moving a little sideways. Oscillators doing the same. We did get the MVP oscillator, though, telling us it was a good bottom to buy. This was kind of what we also predicted in yesterday's live show when we said, don't be surprised after the big dip that Bitcoin took for altcoins to catch up. Sure enough, that's exactly what we're seeing. But I do still think the next couple of days and weeks will continue to see red candles developing. Let's take a look at a couple other coins out here. XRP not having fun, continuing to dip to the downside, making its way down towards this T-box we've talked about. Top end 45 cents, but lower end 41 cents. I still believe we're making our way down there. We are seeing bullish flashes, but they're being ignored. Most recent one, a peak seeker. Ignoring a peak seeker, not a good sign if you're trying to actually buy here. That just continues to tell you the bears are in full control over an XRP. We told you Solana, one of the big losers of the day, continuing to the downside. Again, just like Cardano, are we going to be developing some bullish divergence? It does look that way, and we're getting little flashes here on the 4-hour chart that we should be buying here soon. But we did lose that dynamic reactor on the 4-hour chart. Not a good sign. Solana, just like I said, could be moving a little bit more to the downside. Keep an eye out around $20, 50 cents, 45 cents or so when we start to hit that green band on Solana. Let's talk about a positive coin, though, T-Shroom, because a lot of red, a lot of negative. You guys know one of our community favorites, Caspa. Our community goes crazy over in our Discord. Make sure you join it. It is free. Free price of free. Bounced down low here into the green bands on the 4-hour chart. Also hit this support level of a rising wedge. So long-term, guys, do be cautious because this is a bearish pattern. But we talked about, we thought it would make one more good bounce. Maybe we see another good rally come to the Casa space. This is a smaller cap. It's not going to be necessarily as affected by red candles in Bitcoin and other top coins. Maybe we make a push up to new highs here in the 5.6 region, somewhere around there, before a bigger fall comes later. Again, rising wedge. These traditionally break to the downside, but a lot of buys coming in here more recently that do look like they're respected. Look at that peak seeker and the green MVP oscillators screaming. We also got this little gold diamond over here on our money flow chart. This all correlated with that support level, and Caspa does look to be pushing to the upside with a lot of room to run. So keep your eyes out on Caspa, a positive in today's news. Guys, that's all the TA we have for today, but we will be covering more of it later today in our live show, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single weekday. You don't want to miss it. Smash the like on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a single one of our videos. And with that said, you guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you this afternoon.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news got the word, doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better than cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.